Friday, Floss Tube. I'm back. My name is Caroline, and this is my Stitch With Me video that I put out most Fridays on my YouTube channel, Off the Grid Needlearts. Thank you for joining me today. It has been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since my last video. I put out a short little video on Remembrance Day, and then I haven't been able to put out a video since then because our internet has been down. It's been quite a saga. Feels good to be back. So I've decided to work today on my Rooftop Cocoa Shop. That is a LindyStitches design. LindyStitches has Stephanie has just released this, I believe it's out at shops for the next week, and then she will have it available on her Etsy shop next week on the 29th. So I do believe you can now find this pattern for sale. It is the pattern that came with my holiday Evertote bag set, and shameless plug, there are still a few left if you're interested, and this is the pattern that goes along with it. And I will try to remember to insert a picture of the full pattern itself. It's adorable with the reindeer, but I'm doing the most important, the rooftop. So I'm going to finish that up first, and then I can enjoy stitching those adorable reindeer. So I think I'm almost done this top section. There should be this is the last big one. So we'll start up there. Go from there. So yes, it has been, oh my gosh, what a comedy. I mean, really, what a comedy it's been with our internet. Basically, it went down, and the service provider, John, called and spent hours on the phone, and they said it was the modem. So they sent him over to the shop that's at the mall, the kiosk, to get a new modem. They, had his name waiting on it and everything, and it didn't work. It wasn't the modem. It's really just a very boring story. I'm not going to bore you with the details, other than the fact, sorry, oops, that's in the wrong spot. Part of the lighting is not great in my kitchen this morning, and I don't have my OT light set up in here, so I think you can see it okay though. But apparently I can't. Yeah, it's a long, boring, frustrating story. Basically, it took us 8 days to get our internet fixed. And in the meantime, on the 7th day, we tried to sign up with a different provider, because at that point, we just needed internet at home. And the truck from our current provider just magically showed up, and if I hadn't seen them outside, I wouldn't have known they were there, because they never said anything. They never knocked on the door. They never, told us they'd fixed anything. John just went and tried it, and it worked. So I guess they fixed it. And so we had to cancel the service that we had just set up with the other company. They hadn't come out to install it yet or anything. In fact, it was going to take them a while to come out and install the new service, because it would have been through the phone line. And they called us and said, oh, the phone lines in your area are bad, so it's going to take us 3 extra days to come out and install it. At that point, it was just, one thing after the other, and this sort of was the last, bit of joke on us that, we've gone to the trouble to sign up with a new provider, and it was still going to take longer than we wanted, but, whatever. We have internet again. Hallelujah. We are back. So I have a ton of stuff to show you and share that I'm going to save to do on Monday for it's probably, I'm not even going to try and say I need to keep it short, because it's not going to be short. Monday's floss tube is going to be long, because I have so many things to talk about and share and show. I want to talk about flossmas on Monday, a little bit more, starting to get, I'm getting ready. I'm gearing up for flossmas. I'm super excited about it. If you don't know what flossmas is, it's basically a non-denominational month-long celebration of any kind of holiday stitching and just celebrating anything festive to do with stitching. And Flossmas last year, what I did was Flossmas was a phrase, word coined by Heidi Cran of Stitching 1/2. Good friend of mine who lives here in Ontario, not that far away from me here. She's a lovely, lovely human being. And so she mentioned this idea to me a few years back now, and she said, but I don't think I'm going to do it. She said, you should take the idea and run with it. So that's what I did last year. And for Flossmas last year, and what I should do, I've been meaning to do this, is separate out all of those videos and put them under their own playlist, under the playlist heading. So I should go ahead and do that. Maybe, I don't think I've done it already. I don't think so. I'll check. Can't remember what I've done. So for Flossmas last year, I decided to go through my stash, and specifically my stash of just cross-stitch ornament magazines that every stitcher and their brother has, a stack of ornament magazines. And I thought, okay, now's the time. I'm finally going to stitch some of the ornaments out of here using nothing but stuff from my stash. So every day in the month of December, I chose a new ornament from those magazines and I started them. And I have finished none of them. And I'm okay with that. I am not going to be doing the same thing this year. I'm good with all of the ornaments that I started last year. I'm using those magazines. I'm happy that they are now in use in my whip pile. So Flossmas this year is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to talk more about that on Monday and hopefully start to get people excited about watching and, doing your own kind of celebratory thing. So I understand. So, before I leave the topic of Flossmas and ornaments, there was one ornament that I decided this month, that I would try and finish up so that I could have it ready for the month of December to do something with. So I'm just going to show you that while I'm talking about it now. This is from the 2010 Christmas ornament issue, and it is the Jeanette Douglas design stamp. No, this one's not on the cover. Oops. I think I flashed that fast enough that I didn't show anything. I'll cut it out if I did. Okay, so it's this one, the Joy ornament. And slurp, slurp, slurp. That's Luna. Luna is my dog, and she's currently having a long drink. I may have to cut part of this out. Okay, so as you can see, I have finished the word, I finished the joy word, and I have finished this part of the garland here. I still have to finish the rest of it here. And I didn't have the called for color. You can see mine is, I think it was called for 3857. I had 3858. So I subbed that in instead. And I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, it's only off by 1 and I still think it looks super pretty. So I'm going to just be pulling threads from my stash to finish this little ornament up. As you can see, it's almost done. There are some beads in here, not very many. I'm not sure I have beads in my stash that will match this. So what I might just do is do some colonial knots instead. Keep it simple. So the reason I'm showing you these other projects that I've got going on at the moment is because I have had very, very, very little stitching time or knitting time in the last, goodness, it's been quite a while. And I'm finally coming to a point in my schedule where the next couple of weeks should be a little bit lighter. I should have a little bit of extra free time. So this weekend, tomorrow, I'm actually headed to my parents' house. And I called my dad and I reminded him that I was coming, and he said, yes, your mother wrote it on the calendar. We know you're coming. The Hamilton Stitch-In is on Sunday, so I'm looking forward to seeing all of my friends there again. It's very exciting. So my parents live not too far away from Hamilton, from the city of Hamilton. So when I go to the Hamilton Stitch-In, I usually roll it and wrap it into a lovely visit with them. But this time, I'm not taking any of the rest of the family with me. Usually Nicholas comes with me and hangs out with my parents. But this time I'm just going by myself. Sarah might come with me, but Sarah if she comes with me, she'll be coming to find a quiet place to study. Does that make sense? So I said to my dad, I'm coming and I should be getting there around, mid-afternoon, and I want to park myself on your couch and do nothing but stitch and watch movies and drink coffee for the rest of Saturday. My dad said, I think we can arrange that. So I cannot wait. So that's why I'm showing you my whips, because this is what I'm taking with me. This weekend, I would like to finish this ornament. That's task number 1. I am going to continue to work on my Rooftop Cocoa Shop Sal. There is a hashtag Rooftop Cocoa Shop Sal. And my goal is to get the rooftop finished and the snow and the chimney. And then that way next week I can start on the reindeer. And then I've got my Ink Circles Damask Square, which here's where I'm at. So there's a lot more stitching on this than you ever think there is. And clearly, not having a lot of time, this has not really been. And as you can see, I've put it in my Q-snap on the diagonal so that I could get to those corner bits. So I need to get after this. I really, really, really want to have this finished before the end of the month. And the way it's looking, I just don't know if I'm going to get it done. So I need to put some X's in there. So here's my starting point for the weekend on this. Tonight is the Friday Off the Grid Stitch With Me party. If you're joining with us on the Facebook group, we try to aim to stitch for a 6-hour time period on Friday evenings from 6 p.m. until midnight, your time, and you can join and share your progress on the Facebook group. So John and I have already planned to watch Christmas Vacation tonight. It feels a little early, but on the other hand, it doesn't feel early. Does that make sense? I feel like it's time. We watch it every year. And every year, the same things make us laugh that we laughed at every year. It's just, holiday tradition. And I know many of you watch the same movies that we do every year as well. So that's what's on deck for tonight. So we're going to watch Christmas Vacation. I also plan on finally being able to watch some FlossTube tonight and possibly this weekend. It'll depend on, my parents aren't going to want to watch FlossTube with me. So I will I'll take my iPad with me, and maybe late at night I can watch a little bit in bed with some knitting or something like that, which would be really nice. And I'm kind of excited to just take this weekend off and relax and stitch and recharge the batteries. My mom and dad usually spoil me. I think many parents do that for their adult children when they have them come and stay. They tend to spoil them a little bit. And I have to admit, I don't think you're ever too old to be spoiled by your parents. And if your parents are no longer here and you're missing them, and this conversation has you thinking about your parents and the special times that you had and you miss them, I'm sorry. And I hope that your memories are fond and that you do something a little extra special to spoil yourself this weekend. My mother-in-law passed away in 2015. We were quite close. Every once in a while, I remember a stitched piece that I gave her, or conversations that we would have, just funny things about the children, or, things that happened in the past. Nice memories. She always admired my stitching. She was an amazing knitter, my mother-in-law. Her mother taught her, and her mother was an exquisite knitter. And my mother-in-law always said, she said, I wish you had met my mother when her name was Evelyn. And I met Evelyn once, but it was after she had already started. It wasn't dementia per se, but she thought John was Herb, and Herb is my father-in-law, and she thought I was the nurse. She didn't know who I was, and so I never really met her, so that she knew that I was John's wife. But she was an amazing knitter, and of course she taught Bridget how to knit. My mother-in-law, her name was Bridget, and Bridget was an amazing knitter, but she never really knit for pleasure. She knit for purpose. So, when the seasons would start to change and it would be time to, have the wool on your lamp again, she would start to think about whose turn it was next for the next sweater, or the next, she didn't really like making socks, even though she knew my father-in-law loves handmade socks, which, I've been meaning to make him a pair of hand knit socks for ages, and I just haven't done it yet. So I should do that, but they take so long. I'm such a slow knitter, and I have so many projects on the go at the same time that the poor man will probably never get a pair of socks from me. But if I just made it a priority and cast them on, and maybe just 10 minutes a day, I could do that, right? His birthday's in February. I wonder if I cast them on now. That's not a bad idea. Okay, you guys are in on the little secret here. if I cast them on now and I tuck them away in their own little project bag, it has to be a very plain wool, because he's not a colorful dresser. He's a fairly, he likes grays and browns. So I'm sure I've got some wool. And okay, so that's it. You guys are in on the little secret with me, because he's never going to watch this. I will cast them on, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a little timer or a little alarm or put a little something on my to-do checklist where I just have to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day putting a few extra stitches in a pair of socks for my father-in-law, because I really think that's the only way I'm ever going to get them made. Because let's face it, I like to knit. I like to knit with color. That's my favorite. I love to knit with colorful yarn, and I love colorful socks. And so that's probably why I've been putting it off, because, he's a man and you have to make bigger socks. So bigger socks than a women's medium, which is what I make for myself or my daughter. And they take longer. They take longer to knit because you have to make them bigger. So, and it's a bit of boring wool. So that's really, I'm sure, why I just haven't gotten around to it. So it's time. I'm going to choose the yarn. That's what I'll do. So let's keep this a Friday thing, because I talk a little bit about my knitting on Monday Floss Tube, but it's really, I try to keep it about cross stitch. So I will share my progress with you on Fridays so that you guys are in on the surprise with me. Okay, so that way I've got some accountability, because I'm going to have to show you some progress a week from now, and every week, just my 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you guys can help encourage me get a pair of socks knit for my father-in-law. His birthday is in the middle of February. Now, he's not going to be here in February. He's not coming home from where he's going to be spending a large part of the winter. He won't be home until maybe March, I don't think. So he's not home until the end of March. However, if I keep that in the back of my mind, that's an excuse. And I do not want any more excuses to get this pair of socks done. So I'm going to aim for his birthday, even though he won't be here for me to give them to. I think that's a good goal. It's 2.5 months, 5-10 minutes a day. I'm gonna do it. So you guys are my witness, and I'm gonna have to show you my progress every week. Deal? Deal. I think that'll be good. All right, what do we got here? Oh, sometimes that one little leg, I don't usually railroad, and it usually doesn't bother me, but every once in a while, if it doesn't really lie flat, it can bug me a little bit. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. The bottom. I don't like to carry my thread too far, so we'll carry it a few stitches there. I mean, attach it, tack it down, and then it's not loose. Now this is the same, yeah. There we go. Done. So that's my plan for this weekend. So now I'm recording a Fiber Friends episode actually in about an hour. So I have to keep an eye on my phone, because I need to make sure that I have enough time to plug my phone back in and charge it up before we record the Fiber Friends. So I get to spend a couple hours with my girlfriends, a couple of my favorite people, and have a fun time with them talking about knitting. And then I might tell them about my socks too, so that I've got some encouragement from the Fiber Friends podcast as well. I think I'm going to need as much encouragement as I can get to get these socks done, because you guys know me. I am easily distracted by new and shiny things, and I also am very busy. So things that I don't sort of put to the forefront of my mind, they don't get the attention that they deserve. So, and everyone's got 5 to 10 minutes a day. I surely can find 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe a little less scrolling on Instagram would get me there. Just saying. I do love Instagram and Facebook. Oh, there's just, but that's the problem, right? Because then for someone who is like what's the bird? A magpie, you know, where you collect things and you see all of these other beautiful things and you think, oh, I could do that, or I could make that, or, you know, something sets your brain kind of on fire with possibility and ideas and creativity. And I love that. You know, I've had so many conversations with people about social media and how much they dislike it. And I don't know, I guess I just always see the wonderful positive side of it. And I love it. Luna's been wandering around. John's outside raking up the leaves. And I don't even feel guilty that I'm not out there helping him. Not even a little bit. And so Luna's kind of wandering around, making sure that he's okay outside. And she wonders why I'm talking to myself here. But she's doing fine. She's doing okay. She's got a funny rash in her paw, her one paw that she's had since we got her. And I am having a devil of a time getting it cleared up. So I've got one more thing to try from the vet. And then if that doesn't work within the next 10 days, then I'm going to have to take her back to the vet again. So fingers crossed. She's settling in beautifully. It's so funny, you know, because I found just floated in out of nowhere and landed on my pants was a Daria, a hair from Daria. I'm sure we're going to be finding her hair in the crevices of the house. Doesn't matter how well you clean, it's still going to appear somewhere. And quite a few minutes of nostalgia. I think about Daria every day. She's my screensaver on my laptop, and so every time I close up my work for the day on my laptop, she's the last thing I see before I close down my machine. It's a sweet picture taken. She's sitting outside on the path through the open door, and she's looking at the camera. And it's funny because animals have such distinct personalities. They're all so different, but so many similarities. Because Luna has both traits that remind me of Daria, but also of Eddie, our beagle, who we lost a few years back now. And she has the same kind of drive for, they call it a high prey drive, where cats and squirrels and, small little animals like that aren't safe around her because, well, that's kind of their instinct. And so we have to be very careful with Sasha, the neighbor's cat. She's no longer allowed in the house, unfortunately. And I did, just so you know, the reason why I was letting Sasha in last year is because it was pretty cold outside. And, Canadian winters are, well, it's not just Canada. I know there are parts of the States that have similar winters to us. But our neighbors had moved here from a warmer place, much warmer place. And so I'm not sure that they really understood that it can be quite dangerous for animals to leave them outside for long periods of time, especially when the temperatures really, really drop. And so I got very used to watching out for Sasha and bringing her in and keeping her inside and keeping an eye on whether or not, she was waiting outside at their door if they weren't letting her in. And it was really a bit naughty of me because naughty and a bit selfish, because I missed my cat, and here was this lovely, friendly, warm, cuddly, affectionate cat who just kind of made herself at home in my house, and it gave me a chance to sort of feel like I had, part ownership of a cat again, if that makes sense. But now we can't do that. We can't let her in. It's not safe for her. And then I was worried that, maybe if the neighbors left her outside a little too long, that, she might get frostbite, she might lose part of an ear, anything can happen. And so I came clean and I told them. I told them what I'd been doing last winter, and I said, I kind of was a bit selfish about it because I knew that if she was outside, there was a much higher likelihood that she would come over and snuggle with me. But just so you know, this is what could happen if she is left outside, and you please should make sure that she comes inside. And I hope you're not upset with me for letting her in so much last year, and that also for giving you advice, etc. But they love Sasha as well. They adore Sasha, and of course want the best for her. So in fact, it was actually a really good conversation, and I have noticed since we had that conversation, Sasha hasn't been outside nearly as much. So it was a tough thing for me to come clean about and admit, and also feel like I was being a bit pushy, telling them, maybe they should be a bit more careful. But in the end, I thought, I'm more concerned about the welfare of the cat than my sort of feeling uncomfortable. So I think it was for the best. So anyways, we do watch out for her, but yes, even more so than squirrels, Luna seems much more attracted to catching the cat. So she can't go outside without a leash because it would be disastrous, really. So, boy, that was a rabbit hole, literally. I can't remember. I was talking about all my loves, my Daria and my Luna, and I'm just such a, if you didn't know by now, I'm a bit of an animal lunatic. So it's been lovely having a dog in the house again, and snoring away. And I was gonna say, that's my hair. I find that all over the place too. Oh dear. Anyways, I better go. I need to get set up for the Fiber Friends coming over, and I have a few things to show off on the podcast. A shawl that my friend Josh knit for me, and I'm going to show that again on Monday, because it's, when you get a gift of love like that from a crafter, it deserves to be shown off. So I'll share that on Monday. But I have a few other things to pull together and show. And guess what? I finished a sock. I did. I finished the sock. Remember, I said that was one of my November goals, was to finish that second sock so that I had a pair, and I did it. So I told you first. So yeah, there we go. So it's Friday, and boy, does it ever feel good to be back and chatting with you, because I'm such a creature of habit, and to not have that outlet of, Friday is Stitch with Me and Monday is Floss Tube, and it felt very, very strange. Very strange. So I'm really happy to be back, and thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you're well. I hope you have a great weekend and find some time for yourself, and I hope you'll join us tonight on the Friday Off the Grid Stitch with Me group. And yeah, I'll see you on Monday. Better make sure you bring a big cup of coffee on Monday if you come to visit, because I have a feeling it's going to be a long one. And I'll see you then. Take care.